Every year in graphic design spaces online, you'll often find people discussing what the latest logo design trends are. And while I personally feel that logos shouldn't be designed around a trend, they do tell us what designers are experimenting with and where the industry is heading creatively. And so in this video, I'll be ranking 2026 logo design trends, seeing which ones I absolutely love and which ones need to jog on. Right guys, so we are here in the tier maker for our supposed logo trends, and we've got three tiers. We've got love this, we've got it's okay I guess, and then we've got get out because these trends need to die. So the first one we have is minimalism. Now honestly, I think minimalism is just okay. It is very overused, particularly in companies that don't actually need minimalism. I think people think that because all of the large companies have minimalistic logos that everyone should and that they should, when in reality a different design style might be better suited to their business. But personally, I'm also just really kind of sick of minimalism. Like yes, it gives that premium clean feel, but there are also many other different design styles that can achieve the same effect. So I really don't know whether to put it in It's Okay I Guess or Get Out. Let's see. I might put it in It's Okay I Guess, but no, I think minimalism just needs to go. Like we need to find different design styles that suit different business needs. Instead of just defaulting to minimalism every time someone wants a new logo.
Electric chair.
So next up guys, we have AI generated logos. And obviously I love this, so I'm going to put it in the top tier. No, of course not, right? AI logos need to get out. If your business uses an AI generated logo, right, it tells me a couple of things. It tells me that you're very, very cheap and you don't care about your business. It also tells me that whatever product or service you provide is just not worth paying for because you can't afford to create a proper brand that actually represents your business that people will enjoy. It also just tells me that you as a business owner are quite lazy because tools like Canva exist now, and I would much prefer to see a business with a Canva logo than with an AI generated one. Because at least then it shows that you've spent time to actually try and create a brand than just generate an AI logo that looks terrible. There's no passion or soul in AI generated logos, and so it obviously belongs in the bottom tier, and I'm sure every single one of you watching this video will agree. So apparently pixel logos are also coming back into trend, and I personally think that these are really fun. As you may or may not know, I'm a huge gamer, so the pixel aesthetic really appeals to me, and so I'm in the right mind to put it in the love this category. Personally, I think pixel logos are quite underutilized. And I think this is because it might come across as a bit too generic for a gaming company or a big tech company. Now, I will agree that it would be a bit too generic if you just use pixels, but you have to take the pixels and then do something else with them to make it stand out. And I feel like we just haven't seen a lot of designs that take the pixel aesthetic and pushes it further. So I honestly think that the pixel aesthetic is a bit untapped, and I think more designers should give it a go. So the next one we've got on the list is retrofuturism. Now, this is probably one of my most favorite design styles ever.
Clap it.
It aims to bring back that 80s, 90s, Y2K era logo design style. Big, bold, full of texture, and full of movement. Now obviously this would go against today's standards of having things being clean and flat for accessibility and printing purposes. But there would be no harm in having one of these logos as part of your logo suite in order to help support your brand. So yes, you could have this massive glossy textured logo for specific use cases, but then also have the other versions that are clean, flat, and accessible. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And so I think I'm going to put it into the love this category. I would really like to see more retrofuturism. So next up we have Gothic typefaces, and a lot of designers might think that Gothic typefaces are a bit too detailed to be in a logo, but I talked about Liquid Death in a previous video and they are just killing it with the alternate Gothic style. But there is like a line where it can become too detailed, where it can reduce its readability and scalability. However, there's nothing really stopping you doing what I mentioned for retrofuturism, where you can have a more detailed Gothic logo that's full of personality for more appropriate spaces. And so I think I'm also going to put this in the love this category. I think you guys may have noticed a trend at this point, like I love any aesthetic that brings out the personality of the brand, and I just really hate it when everything's just simple, clean, and corporate.
No, it's true. It's true.
So the next one we have on the list is brand mascots. For the image here, we've got Firefox's new brand mascot, which is full of personality. so you can probably guess where I'm gonna put it. Of course, it's going into the love this category. I honestly think that brands should utilize mascots a little bit more, as it gives the customer something that they can have a relationship with, which is an easy way to strengthen the connection between brand and customer. And of course, it just gives the customers something cute or cool to look at other than your logo, which is a plus.
Nailed it. I know. Thank you. Moving on.
I know I've talked about Duolingo in the past on this channel, but their brand is solely based around their mascot, Duo. And I don't know a single person who doesn't like Duo. Yes, he can be a bit pushy and have attitude at times, but I think that's what we love about him. If Duolingo didn't have Duo, then I don't think the connection with the brand would be as strong as it is now. So yes, mascots definitely belong in the top tier. Next up guys, we've got morphing logos. Now this is kind of where shapes or letter forms blend into one another, and if it's done correctly, it can have this really cool effect. However, I think morphing logos are quite difficult to get right, and sometimes it can actually come to a point where you end up reading something that wasn't intended at all, which can more often than not hurt your brand reputation. So I'm not really sure where to put it. I mean, I love them because when they're done right, it's done really well. But also, like, it can just be really difficult to do. But I guess that's kind of what the middle tier is for, so I'm gonna put it in it's okay, I guess. When it's done correctly, it can be fantastic, but when it's done terribly, it can have some dire consequences. So the next one we have is this blob, but I've drawn this to represent imperfect logos. Now apparently this is a trending style for this year, but I wouldn't put it under the same umbrella as all of the other options. It's less of a style and more of like a technique, but it is a technique that I very much enjoy, so I'm going to put it in the love this category. I think imperfections and little quirks are some of the best ways you could bring out personality in your brand. Whenever I'm designing a logo, I always tend to give it some small imperfections just to give it that human feel. Nowadays, the market's kind of saturated with clean and geometric design, so why not add a little bit of imperfection into your logo to show that there's a human behind the brand.
Yeah, get into it.
Whenever I see a logo with like an imperfection, I don't think like, oh, that was a mistake. I tend to think that was intentional. And it honestly also just amazes me how these small imperfections can just change the feel of the logo entirely, taking it from something that's like bland and boring to something that's quite unique and has its own identity. So yeah, for those reasons, it belongs in the love this tier. So the final one we've got on this list is 3D logos. Now I'm just gonna go and put it right here in the love this category. You know, in recent years, there's just been too much flat design. I need to see something that pops off of the screen. I want to see something that's big, bold, beautiful, and grabs my attention, and 3D can definitely achieve that.
The prophecy is true.
And again, as I said with retrofuturism and gothic, what's stopping you from having a 3D logo that's just a small part of your larger logo suite, where you could have a 3D logo for more appropriate larger spaces and have a flat logo for smaller spaces. I think most designers are afraid to touch 3D because they don't think it would work in black and white. But there's definitely a way to do it. You can keep the surface white and have the extrusion be black, or give the extrusion a slight outline so that it stands out against the white background. So there is definitely a way to do it, and as I said to begin with, I just like seeing things that aren't flat and clean, so that's why I've put it in the top tier here. So guys, we've got the tier list complete. To summarize, I feel like the top tier is all of the things that kind of would bring your brand some personality, avoiding that sort of simple and clean corporate style. While at the bottom, we've got things that are a bit overused and AI is just lazy, so obviously it belongs at the bottom. Now, of course, supposedly these are trends, but you shouldn't really be designing your brand around a trend. You should be designing your brand around what best suits your business needs, and if that goes against the trend, then you should definitely do it. So for example, if you're a lawyer and you run a legal business, you obviously wouldn't want to lean into the pixel aesthetic, but you might want to lean into having a mascot or having an imperfection that makes your logo unique. It's about finding out what's best for your business and the space that you operate in.
Slay! Slay!
But anyway guys, let me know in the comments what you thought about my tier list choices and what things you would change. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this week's video. If you enjoy the content, please make sure to like, share, comment and subscribe. If you want to see more content from me, you can see it on the screen now. And if you want to support me that little bit extra, you can buy me a coffee on Ko-Fi. The link is in the description. But that brings us to the end of the video, so I hope you have a lovely weekend and I'll see you next time. Bye!